Alright guys, I'm just going to wait for a couple of people to jump on right now. Just give me a comment when you're on live. Hey guys, welcome. Just give me a comment if you can hear me, see me, do all that jazz. Let me know if you're on live. Otherwise, I'll give it another 30 seconds. I find that there's a little bit of a delay with Facebook Live. Just checking that everyone's on. Just type in a yes, guys, if you're on live so I can check that you're on. Cool. Just type in any comment. Hey guys, welcome. I'm seeing more people jumping in on the line now, which is awesome. Cool. Just type in a comment if you can hear me and see me. It's doing this weird flashing light thing. Let me see if I can stop that. It's not super cool. I don't know if it's the outside light. Guys, just type in a yes if you can see me and hear me. Cool. Alright, guys, I wanted to chat to you tonight on environment, and I want to make this probably a really short talk, but also a really interactive one. I want you guys to be able to ask me any questions that you desire as well. I'm currently in Las Vegas, which is super cool. It's nearly 2:30 a.m. here, can you believe it? I've been out for an amazing dinner, and Lee is actually running a webinar next door. So he's like up and pumping with energy, which is really cool. He's doing a webinar around leadership, masculine leadership, and how that works for guys. So I wanted to jump on quickly and chat to you guys around environment. Can you just give me a comment if you can see me, and just let me know if the screen's flashing, guys, because I don't know what's going on. It looks like it's definitely flashing from my end. Let's see if I can make that any better. Just type in a comment if that's improved for you. It looks like it's flashing. It looks like it stopped flashing actually now, which is awesome. So just leave a comment there so that I know you guys can see me and hear me all right. Cool. Awesome. Welcome, guys. So I wanted to chat to you firstly on environment and just how powerful it really is. I hear people all the time saying you really are the sum of the 5 people you hang around, and I think people always take that a little bit for face value in terms of the financial worth, and they always say, oh yeah, you mean that around money, right? It's like the people you hang around the most, you become effectively, and that's definitely true to a certain extent, but I really want to take this, I guess, a notch further with you guys tonight and just get really, really, really clear on how important your environment actually is. Hey, welcome, guys. Lots more people on. Sean, it's fine. Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. I'm glad it's all working perfectly. So what's really interesting is that I was out to dinner tonight, and I was with my friend Kat, I was with my fiance Lee, I was with this other kick-ass entrepreneur who was one of Kat's friends, who was absolutely freaking amazing, and also with Jess, who's my good friend. She's also a client, she's also now my media manager, and she's coming in, she's actually doing an internship with us, with Regan Hillyer International at the moment, which is really cool. And we're actually chatting on environment straight after that dinner because I said to Jess, I said, you know what, this is the kind of stuff that you should be filming. Like, this is the kind of stuff where people should really be a fly on the wall to, because the conversations that we had at dinner were absolutely insane. Like, they were next level. They were literally in a space where it was like, any normal person listening in would have been like, what are you guys talking about? Like, it was super high level, it was super intense, but it was super fulfilling at the same time. And I really walked away from this dinner going, this is my tribe. These are the people that I want to hang around. These are the people that I really connect with. These are the people that I ultimately want to become, right? And absorb and use their energy to fuel my energy to take myself to that next level, but at the same time also focus on lifting them up in a really, really powerful way. And it's interesting because I was talking to Jess, who's obviously traveling around with us, and she's like, oh my God, that dinner was insane. It was so much fun. Like, the people were amazing. And I turned around to her and I said, what did you learn? And she's like filming me right now, by the way. You can't see her in the live stream, but she just like ran in with the camera. But, she came right in, and she was like, you know what, this dinner was so powerful because I learned so much around successful people and how they think. And not so much just how they think, but how they actually are. And this is the coolest thing with environment, is that when you truly tap into environments, it's not so much about just what they do or what they say, but it's actually the identity that they hold. And this is the coolest thing, right? Because I was doing another training on this earlier today, and I was talking to some of my guys that are doing a content challenge with me, and we're talking about identity and the fact that, if your unconscious identity isn't actually in alignment with where you're going in your life, ultimately, somehow it's not going to line up. Even if you hit your goal, if your identity is not in alignment with this stuff, ultimately you're going to self-sabotage it, because even if you take all this massive external action and you achieve all this stuff, if you're not aligned with this internally, it's not going to be right. It's not going to play out effectively. So we're talking about this, and this is what I loved about this dinner, is that everyone's identities, oh my gosh, Jess has just made this really bright. Hang on. I've got like white all of a sudden. All of a sudden, right, at this dinner, everyone's identities, I was just clicking that they were so switched on, and they were just in this level where they're on an entirely different level. And honestly, anyone listening in who was a fly on the wall would have literally been like, what am I walking into right now? Now, I'm going to keep going on environment because I honestly think it is one of the biggest things ever in terms of cultivating success, in terms of taking you to the next level. I believe it's really one of the easiest ways to actually shortcut your success and really amplify it. And if you're someone where it's like, you're successful, but you want to take it to the next level, if you can put yourself into even more successful environments, I really believe that is going to catapult you. So I want to hear from you guys. What are your questions around environments? Okay, I want you to type it in right now. You can ask me anything around how to get into new environments, where do you start out, like what is the power environment. I want to know any questions you guys have specifically around environment, because I am noticing more and more and more, so much of what I've achieved in the past is directly linked to my environment. It's that simple. And you know what? It's not always easy, guys. It's not always like, oh, look at me, I'm just in this great environment. Like, it's just kind of showed up and here I am, and like, I'm so grateful for my environment. It's more like, okay, my environment is whatever, but now how can I take this to the next level? How can I shift into a new environment? And you know what? If I take you guys back to when I was like 17, 18, and I was living in Auckland, New Zealand, and I was, my environment was okay. Like, I'm not saying they were, bad people or anything like that, but I knew deep down that if I wanted to grow, I seriously had to step up my environment. I had to change it. I had to shift it. So for me, that involved like literally moving country. That involved literally going, okay, how do I get myself out of this environment and plonk myself into like highly successful environments so that I could amplify this, so that I could take it to the next level. And like I said, it wasn't easy. It was really freaking uncomfortable. I moved into a city, Melbourne specifically, in Australia, where I didn't know anybody. I think I knew like one other person that lived in Melbourne, right? And it was really tough. I remember walking into events where, I had chosen to be there. And I had chosen to I had chosen to put myself into environments where I knew that if I surrounded myself with successful people, I would start absorbing their beliefs, their mentalities, their habits. I knew that I would start absorbing that by osmosis. And then obviously you have to be aware of it and you have to take action on it. But if you're not in the environment, then nothing is actually going to shift, right? So I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's absolutely necessary. Let me check in on the comments here. I changed my environment 3 years ago, more the better. It actually saved my life. Hey Mel, I just saw that was you. It's massive. It saved mine as well. And I can absolutely agree with you that if I did not take conscious steps to actually change my environment, then nothing would have changed. It's that simple. Bradley, you disagree? Cool. Stay in your environment. I don't care. It's your life, not mine. No problem. Stacey. Starting steps when you are in a negative environment. All right. That's a really great question because there are so many people out there where their environment doesn't serve them. Now, I love, by the way, Stacey, that you've typed that through. Like, I think that is so freaking super cool because number one, you've actually done the first step already. You've actually acknowledged that you're in an environment that potentially doesn't serve you. That is the first step. The first step is actually having an awareness of where your environment is at currently. So many people just drift around in this environment where it's like, okay, it just is, like, that's my family, that's my friends, it's just by default, like, it is what it is, and they're not even aware that their environment is affecting them and their growth, and they can't actually move forward until they sort that shit out, right? So that's the first step. The first step is actually figuring out, you know, that you're not in a great environment. Step number two is making a conscious decision in terms of which environments you need to be in. Now, these are going to be different for everyone, right? If you're someone and you're like, I want to be like a massive leader, entrepreneur, and change the fucking world, then you need to go and put yourself in those environments. If you're someone where you're like, I'm a PT, but I'm starting out, but I want to be around really successful PTs, go and put yourself in those environments. Like, you need to, step number two, right, is figure out which environments you actually need to be in. Step number three, I know it sounds silly, but you need to go and do it. It's all very well sitting there going, oh my gosh, I'm in a negative environment. Step number one. Step number two, okay, I really need to change it and get into these environments. If you don't actually then go do it, you know, yeah, nothing's going to shift, right? So step number three is actually going, okay, I acknowledge where I need to be. I acknowledge that I will become my environment, and I acknowledge that I need to get into these environments, and then it's literally doing whatever it takes in order to get yourself into that zone, right? And if you don't do step number three, it's really simple. Nothing is going to shift. You're literally just going to be like, okay, well, I'm in a shit environment or an average environment, or even potentially, even more dangerously, in an okay environment. And that's where it's dangerous, guys, because that's when you're comfortable and you're like, my environment's kind of cool. Like, I'm quite comfy in my environment. And that's when it's okay. And then you're just like, holy shit, and all of a sudden, like, years down the track, you're like, why am I not growing? Right, because you're sitting in your comfort zone. Okay, what else have we got? Humans are the meaning-making machines. If you don't like a feeling, change the meaning. Yeah, absolutely, Bradley. If you don't like it, change it. I love that. Teresa, hey, I totally agree. It's so powerful to be surrounded by phenomenal people. It's a must. It's absolutely a must. Stacey, oh, let me just turn my little battery sign off. I'm actually going to plug my phone in so I don't lose you guys. There we go. I would love to be successful in my current environment, though. I would like to push through the negativity. Yep, look, you absolutely can, but I also want you to acknowledge right now, Stacey, is that you only have control over what you have control over. And I know that sounds so very simple, but so many people put energy and effort into trying to control what they actually can't control. So let's look at right now in your situation what you can control. You can control yourself. You can control your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. You can actually control your environment. What you can't control on the flip side is what other people are thinking, what their actions are, what their beliefs are, what their environment is. You can't control that stuff. So you have a choice, right? You have a choice to go, okay, I'm going to spend all my time and energy trying to like mold my environment to try and make it better, or you choose, by the way, you've got a few choices. You choose to stay in the environment and go, okay, well, I'll just hope for the best and like hope it pans out fine, or you choose to potentially maybe completely remove yourself or partly remove yourself from that environment and get into new environments that actually serve your growth. Okay, so if I was you, I don't know your situation, but I would think about that, right? Now, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I absolutely agree. And everyone says this, and I think they think about this in terms of a purely financial state. And again, although that's true to a certain degree, like I definitely believe that you are financially the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But at the same time, you know, you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with energetically and emotionally and physically and on every other freaking realm possible. Like, you will literally morph into them. And again, coming back to Jess, who's doing this internship with us, and she's traveling with us everywhere. Like, it's full on. Like, we're in Vegas at the moment. We've been in Hollywood. Like, I can't even remember where we've been. We're going to Miami in a few days, no, like 5 days time. We're then back to Hollywood. It's just insane. And she's just like, holy shit. And it's like all these people, all these different environments, and it's so much fun. But at the same time, like tonight, she's like, I get it. Like, I totally get it. You know, you guys only surround yourselves with people that are playing at your level or higher. You guys only surround yourselves with people who are committed to their growth. You guys only surround yourselves with people that are committed to impact. And it's like, all of a sudden, it started making sense. And it's like, okay, you guys are like this purely because you surround yourself with other people like this. And then they're like this because they're around you. And it's like, it all flows into one, right? Ellie, hi. I need to actually find people to surround myself with, as in face-to-face. Absolutely. And look, I'm all about surrounding yourself with powerful people online. Like, I believe that's really important, and you can get into, you know, Facebook groups and do that and connect with people, and it's awesome. Like, I spend a lot of time online, obviously, but there is something about face-to-face, about belly-to-belly, about looking into someone's eyes and looking into their soul and going, you know what, this is what I'm about, which is really freaking powerful. So, again, if I were you, I'd be writing out a list of all of those environments, and I'd be getting really creative with it, going, okay, if I was to find some really freaking cool, successful people on my level or above to hang out with, where would they be? And I would start asking myself that. And then I would look at that list and I would go, okay, where are my current environments? Where am I hanging out? Maybe I'm like hanging out on a bar on a Friday night. Like, I'm not saying you are, Ellie. This is just a random example, right? But it's like, okay, these people that I'm wanting to get into the environment with, are they in the bar on Friday night? They're not. Okay, well, where are they? And start putting yourself in that environment. And I know it sounds so silly, but sometimes it's literally as simple as like, hey, how you going? What's going on? Let's connect, and finding some sort of common ground so that they go, oh my gosh, you know, this person's amazing. You'll be surprised at how many successful people are actually looking for other successful people to hang out with. You know, I don't know if you guys have heard that saying, it's lonely at the top, right? And you know what, to some extent it's kind of true, because people that have an amazing environment, they're so selective about their environment because they get this, right? They get this on such a deep level. If anyone is going to drag them down, if anyone is going to like put a lid on their dreams, if anyone is going to go, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're going to change the world? That person's out, right? That person's literally like, okay, I love you, I respect you, you can have your own views, but we probably won't hang out again, right? So these people rather, are so guarded around their environment. You have to understand that when you come in and when you go, hey, this is who I am, this is what I want to achieve in the world, this is what I believe, this is what I'm looking for in an environment, you'll be surprised potentially how many people welcome you with open arms because they're looking for like-minded people. People that function at this vibration are simply looking for other people to hang out with in environments like that. Like, they're looking for those people actively, right? Hey Marissa, this is gold. Jess, hey Jess, where are you? I thought you were like behind me before. Select your environment with conviction. Absolutely. Okay, let me check the questions quickly. Glenn, a smiley face. Cool. Jane, how do you handle the fear of upscaling and not hiding anymore when you are an introvert? Oh yeah, that's massive. Like, I could honestly do a whole live stream training like just on that. So for those of you who don't know, I am the biggest introvert in the world. I would take a bubble bath and a book over going to some sort of event and speaking or doing networking or whatever, like, any day of the week. Like, honestly, any day of the week. Like, I would literally be like, please leave me at home with, like, my soft toy and my book. Like, I'm not kidding, right? Like, anyone that knows me really closely will vouch for that, okay? So, here's the thing. What you need to understand is that it's a choice. And here's what I know and respect on such a deep level. I truly know on so many levels that no one is self-made. No one. Okay? No one is self-made. No one gets to the top and goes, I did it all by themselves. Like, honestly, no one. They get to the top and they go, I was supported. And they go, I worked with this coach, and I worked with this mentor, and I had these people backing me, and I had these people that believed in me. And yeah, there's the people that didn't get it. There's the people that told me I couldn't do it. There's the people that told me I was going to fail. Like, I get that, but at the same time, I will put money on it that they are not standing completely alone. They have a power posse. Even if it's one person, 2 people, 5 people that back them, those people are there. So for me, it's a choice. It's like, okay, do I want to just like succumb to being an introvert and hang out by myself with my book and my bubble bath and probably a glass of champagne, let's be honest, and sit at home and just be like, oh, my life as an introvert is awesome? Or am I committed to my environment? And I am so fucking committed to my environment that I force myself to get out there. I force myself to go to events. I force myself to go speak. I force myself to go connect. And you know what? When I'm in the flow of it, I'm like, this was so worth it because I love people. And although I'm a natural introvert, I love it. So to be honest, to answer your question, Jane, up-leveling is crazy. It's massive. I get it. Yes, there's fear. I'm not going to tell you that the fear doesn't exist. I'm not going to tell you it isn't real because it is real. And you know what? The more you up-level and the bigger the game you play, the bigger the fear is going to get. So it's not so much how do you handle the fear, but it's more like, you know, how do you dance with the fear? How do you use the fear to propel you forward? How do you understand that the fear is there for a reason to actually accelerate you forward? And then how do you use that to motivate you to understand that, oh my God, the fear's showing up. This means that I'm about to push myself, to break into a new level, to break into a new environment. And then you make the choice and you choose to just go for it versus choosing to sit with the fear as an introvert and stay at home in this example. Okay, let me know if that's helped you. Linda, some tips on how you remove yourself from people in your environment that have been around you for a long time, i.e. negative friends. Okay, so this answer is probably going to annoy a lot of people, and that's okay. But this is what I do. It's very simple. I am totally committed to my growth. I am totally committed to my future. I am totally committed to my results. And as a result of all of that, I am totally committed to my environment. So for me, it is very plain, it is very simple. If I have someone in my environment that doesn't serve me, that doesn't support me, that is negative, they're out. And there is no warning sign. There is no like 5 strikes and you're out. They're out. Okay, you guys need to get this. And honestly, if you're writing stuff down, like if I was you, I'd be writing stuff down. Honestly, write this down. You have 2 choices. You have 2 choices right now. You can choose to hang out with negative, unsuccessful people, or you can choose to be freaking wildly successful beyond your dreams of what you can even imagine right now. But you can't do both, right? And you have to choose. You absolutely have to fucking choose. You cannot do both. You cannot sit in the middle. And do you know what? Jess actually said this at my last Money Mindset event. She's like, I get it. I totally get it. She's like, I've been saying I've been committed to success and growth, but I've had like 1 foot still in the old environment. And as long as that 1 foot has been there, or that 1 toe has been there, or that 1 freaking toenail is still in that environment, it's held it back. And the minute she went, okay, I'm done, her results were like, boom. Okay, so I know it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I get it. They're people. I understand there's like past, stuff and relationship. But again, you have to choose, like, how committed are you to your growth? For me, my growth is everything. Success is everything. My results is everything. And it's like, well, I'm either going to choose to hang out with negative people or I'm going to choose that. And for me, the choice is pretty simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying you have to make the choice, okay? Hey Joseph, hey Regan, admire your hustle. I admire yours too, being on this, really inspiring. I think your new haircut rocks, I love it. Thank you. It probably needs to be a bit shorter. Okay, what's your advice for getting people you admire onto a podcast? I know you managed to reach out to Gary Vee recently. Oh, let me see the rest of it. I'd like to start one this year to share the voices of great people. Thoughts? Yeah, I love it. It's a really great question. And it is relevant to environment because that's one of the reasons that I started the podcast with Kat, Celebrity Insider Secrets. Why do you think I did that? Start getting into new environments. Start getting into environments with like super highly successful people that are celebrities that know their shit and have amazing results, okay? So my advice would be, number one, decide if you want to do it or not. Nothing is ever going to happen until you go, okay, I'm actually all in and I'm going to do this. If it's an idea, if you're thinking about it, I'm looking at your language, I'd like to start this, that's not ever going to happen. If you're like, I'm going to start this, it's happening on this date, that's going to happen. So firstly, I would actually make a decision, right? Secondly, I would understand they're just people. They're people. You know what? They might be really successful people, but at the end of the day, they want exposure. They want to be heard. They have a voice. They have a freaking powerful big mission most of the time. So you need to start looking at how can you support that, and always think what's in it for them. Because if there's nothing in it for them, they're not going to do it. Why would they waste their time? Why would they come on and be interviewed in a podcast where it's not going to benefit them? Let's be real, like they're busy. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm saying their time is precious. So you need to look at each individual person and go, okay, how can we really support this person in actually getting something massive out of this? Now, case by case by case, this is what we've done. And I'm not going to step you through everything purely because the show is not released yet. And it will be, by the way, in May. And we have some freaking insane people that we've interviewed. So I can't wait to share. But let's take Gary Vee, for example, because that was kind of the first one we did. And everyone kind of knew about that because although it wasn't released, we did stream it publicly. So Gary Vee, it was very simple. What's his focus right now? Do some research. Okay, he's doing a book launch. Right. How can we support Gary in terms of getting his book launch out to a network of people, majority in Australia and New Zealand, that don't know about it? Right? Find the need, fulfill the need. And we've done that with every single person. So you need to get into their world, into their mindset, into their little environment and go, how can I give to them? How can I support them? And you'll find that if you do that, they'll give back to you over and over and over again. Okay, let me know if that helps. Awesome. Fear is only a distraction from allowing your true self to show up. Agree. Underneath the fear is your potency. Absolutely, big time. Thank you. Oh, nearly knocked my little selfie stick over. Okay, cool. Okay, what else have we got? Let's have a look. Vicky, how would you handle a partner who feels like they're being left behind the more successful you get? This is really big. Okay, you've just opened up a can of worms. Hey, Peter, how are you? Linda, hi. Awesome. Glad I helped you, Joe. Okay, cool. Okay, Vicky, this is massive. This is really big. I love that you asked that, purely because I think it needs to be talked about more. Lee and I are actually releasing something really freaking cool, potentially in the next couple of days, which is literally something for power couples or couples wanting to step into become power couples, and this is a big part of it. So for those of you that missed it, Vicky's question was, how would you handle a partner who feels like they are being left behind the more successful you get? And it's really, really, really common. So I just want you to know right now that if that's you in that situation, you're not alone. It's not a weird situation to be in. In fact, it's quite normal. Now, the fact that it's normal doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be ignored and not addressed, okay? This is probably not going to be nice for a lot of people to hear, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's going to serve your growth and it's going to help you. Write this down if you're taking any kind of notes. If you're in a relationship right now, and if you're committed to your growth, and you have a partner, obviously, if you're in a relationship, I'm talking about with a person, right? Two things happen, right? You either grow together, or you grow apart. It's very, very, very simple. And I've seen it over and over and over and over again. And I've seen it especially, sadly, with people that myself and Lee have worked with, because they get massive results. You know, they come to our courses, they work with us one-on-one, they go in deep, and they're committed. Like, they're really committed, the people we tend to attract. And they're like, they're in, right? And they're like, off we go, and they're sailing, and they're like, holy shit, my results in my life are going like this. Meanwhile, their partner's on the sideline, sinking lower and lower and lower into their self-doubt, into their lack of self-belief, and their self-worth is dropping and dropping and dropping, purely because somehow they've linked up that there should be an equal versus the partner like soaring, and they then feel insufficient around that. So I know it's a tough conversation to have, but here's the thing. You can't change someone, okay? So if it's your partner right now, and I'm talking to everyone on the live stream, by the way, if it's your partner and you're growing at a massive pace and they're not committed to their growth, you know, honestly, you've got some decisions to make. You really do. And you know what, guys? This goes straight back to environment. You know how I said before, if you were on at the beginning, you can either hang around with people that aren't growing, or you can grow yourself at a massive fucking pace. But you can't do both. Like, there's a choice there. There's an absolute choice. And it's not going to work, by the way, if you're like, yeah, I'm going to grow myself, and you've still got like one foot or one toe or one toenail, like still in the situation and the energetic field, which is not growing. It's not going to work, because you're not going to grow, because not all of you is growing. Like, it's very simple, but it's very hard for people to comprehend at the same time. Because obviously, like, relationships, you care about people. So if I was you, I'd be having some really honest conversations. And, you know, Lee and I are very open of sharing this. You know, when we first started dating, when we got into this relationship, I was like, you know, totally obsessed with growth. I was a coach. I was like, woo, watch me go. Lee was like in a security job that he didn't like and emotionally fucked, to be honest. And he was like hating his life. And I was like, dude, like, you need to sort your stuff out, because, you know, it's either like you step up or this isn't going to work. And I know that sounds mean. I know that sounds like tough love, but it's like, it's true. It's like, you know, look at us 4 or 5 years down the track. Imagine if he hadn't stepped up. Imagine if he'd gone, oh, I'll just stay in my job. Like, I don't really need to grow. Like, my mindset's not important. I don't need a coach. Like, you know what? I'll figure it out myself. And he was stuck in some sort of job. And then there's me, like, making millions and traveling the world. Like, that's never going to work, right? And even if your results are on a smaller scale and your partner's not growing with you, then it's just not going to work, okay? And I know I'm probably like the bad cop for saying that. I get it. I get that it's tough love. I get that half of you are like, screw you, Regan, I don't want to hear this right now. But let's just be honest with it. The more real the conversations you have, and by the way, you might be surprised. You know, I've worked with so many couples that one of them is going through this and they're like, oh my God, I'm growing so fast. My partner is not growing. What the hell do I do? And we go through this process and they're like, oh my gosh, they're going to freak out. Like, they're going to leave me. Like, all these fears come up. And then they tap into it and they're like, oh, he was actually, or she was actually, by the way, really receptive to it. They were like, oh, that makes sense. You know, I don't want to lose you. I want to grow with you. I want to become better too. And they've ended up growing together. So my advice is, honestly, have a fucking honest conversation. Talk it out. Be like, I'm growing. Are you with me or are you not with me? And make some real decisions around that. Personally, that's what I'd be doing. Hey, Marissa, I'm in the flow. It's like 3 a.m. here. I don't know what I'm doing. Too late. What are you thinking when you are a small startup with big dreams? How do you deal with rejections and trying to get my name out there? Joseph. I'd just go for it. So I would be doing a lot of mindset work around what your big dreams are specifically. So the way I work in terms of mindset work, you have to be really specific, okay? So it's not enough to go, I have big dreams, like, you know, I want to be financially free, I want to travel the world. Like, I would be like, if I was your coach right now, I'd be like, well, what does that look like? You know, what does financially free look like? You know, so many people they never actually get what they desire because they don't actually know what they want, to be completely honest. You know, it's like, they're like, I want to be financially free. I'm like, okay, well, if I give you $1, are you going to be financially free? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, $10? They're like, no. I'm like, $1,000? Like, no. I'm like, well, how much do you need? Like, they haven't actually decided, right? So that's what I'd be doing. I'd be getting really clear on what those big dreams actually are. I'd be doing all the mindset work to actually align to that, and then I'd be taking massive action in that direction. Now, here's the cool thing. Well, or the not cool thing, if you don't know about it, is that I'd be aligning to the big goal. Like, let's say your big goal is, I don't know your goals, but let's say it's like $1 million a year, and I would be aligning for $1 million a year, even if you're like a startup, if you're starting out, if you're like really freaking new in business, right? Because if you suddenly go, okay, I want to make $1 million a year, but let me just focus on 100 grand a year, your brain, like, you're giving the world mixed signals. You know, you're not saying I'm worthy and deserving of $1 million a year. You're saying I'm just worth 100 grand a year. And chances are, often you're not actually going to hit the specific goal. Often you'll fall straight under it. So if you do that, you might only hit 50, and all of a sudden you've gone from like $1 million to 50K, right? Versus if you align for the million, you might hit 400K. So I always say go bigger, align bigger, do the mindset work to go bigger, remove all the blocks and limits that are holding you back to going bigger, and then take massive action to make it happen. Awesome. You are amazing. You're amazing. Cool. Is this going to be recorded? I have someone who really needs to hear this. Yeah, it'll go up on my Facebook page, Rach. That's easy. Rosa, you're always so giving your time and knowledge. So grateful for you. You're awesome. I just really felt like doing a live stream on environment just because I had a really cool dinner and I was like, environment is so important. I kind of wish that like everyone was at dinner. That's why I'm doing this. Rangi, cool. Hey, awesome. All right, guys, do you have any more questions? 35 minutes. I think I'm done. I don't really have much else to say. Now is your chance to type in any more questions you have around environment, positive, negative, how to change it, anything you want to know. You can ask me about my environment. I'm hanging out in Vegas. You can probably see the lights behind me. It's about 3 a.m. Lee's been doing a webinar. Hey, Christine, how are you? Charlene, hey, how are you? Kia ora. I love your little icons as well. You're too cool. You're too cool. All right. How do you maintain privacy whilst also being there in the public eye? It's a really good question that I get asked a little bit. For me, I'm not too bothered about it. You know, quite honestly, the way I've set up my life is that, you know, my business is my brand. It's a personal brand. It really is just an extension of me being me. So I don't really feel like I have much privacy to keep, if that makes sense. I'll put myself in other people's shoes. If I have kids, it may be a little bit different. I may want to maybe protect them and not necessarily like have them on all my live streams, for example, on all my videos. But considering it's just myself and Lee, like I'm really fine for there not to be that much privacy. But look, that comes back to my beliefs and how I run my brand and my results, and it really is a choice around believing that anyone can create a massive legacy just by being them, and anyone can, you know, become really famous just by being them, and anyone can go out and create a massive impact in the world just by being them. And for me, it's like, well, if you need privacy, if you need to filter that, then you're not really being you, right? It's more like for example, if I turn this live stream on and all of a sudden I like become something else, that doesn't really feel right for me when it's a personal brand. Like honestly, I turned this live stream on, I pretty much just continued on the conversation that I was having at dinner, you know, in my own head and also obviously with everyone else at the table. So for me, it's just an extension. So I honestly don't worry about it so much. And like I said, if I had children, I may think differently, but considering I don't, I'm just like, this is me. What you see is what you get. This is an extension of me. You know, I love my brand. I put my message out to the world daily, and that's what it's all about. Okay. Dana, I didn't see you're on. Who's your biggest inspiration? Well, obviously it's you, okay? I'm really excited to have your daughter come in intern with us. I signed all of her forms today, by the way, and sent everything back to her. Cool. Joe, can you please share a scariest moment facing your fears? Oh, look, there's been so many. I love that you've asked that. I really do. I was like winding up now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep talking. I really love that you asked that because, you know what, I don't know if other people think this, but I used to have this belief that when someone becomes really successful, I kind of thought the fear would go away. Like I looked at all my mentors and all my coaches and all the people that I really respected and still respect in this world. And I kind of thought they were superhuman. Like, really, I would look at them and be like, they're so powerful, they're so influential, they're so successful, they just achieve anything they set their mind to. And I kind of thought that they didn't have any fear anymore, quite honestly. I would see them on stage and they'd just be like owning their power, tapping into this energetic field, and just they'd be off. And I'd be like, I wish one day that, one day I don't feel the fear. And it's so funny because what I've come to learn from working really closely with some very, very highly successful people is that the fear never goes away, like, ever. And in fact, you know what, if the fear's gone away, you're not up-leveling. You're not playing a big enough game, to be completely honest. The way I look at it, it's like you're driving a car. You're driving the car of your life, and you're driving to your next destination, your goal. You're like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's make this happen. And fear's in the back seat. Like, fear is always there. Fear is like hanging out. And you like look in the rear vision mirror and you're like, oh shit, fear's there. And all of a sudden fear like creeps around and fear's trying to like grab your neck, or fear's like this, right? So you can't see where you're driving the car, but you get to choose. Right? You get to choose if you're like stymied by the fear, or if fear suffocates you so you can't breathe, or you go, fear, freaking chill out and get back in the back seat where you belong. And then you use the fear to actually motivate you to drive that car faster. Okay, but that's a choice. That's an absolute choice. What was your question? The scariest moment facing your fears. Look, it's daily. It's absolutely daily. I have moments where I post a video and I feel scared because I don't want to post it. And I'm like, no one wants to listen to this. Like, I doubt myself massively on a daily basis. And you know what? I feel really good telling you guys that, because I feel like so many people out there don't share that stuff. They don't share it authentically. They're like, I'm a superhuman. I'm perfect. I shit gold, right? And it's like, it's not true. It's not true. Everyone deals with fear. Everyone deals with self-doubt on some level. And if you're not, you need to step up your game. Right? So I truly believe that the fear's in the back seat and it's up to you. You have to choose how you actually use it to motivate you. So in answer to your question, Joe, that was a long-winded answer. There's scary moments like daily, but I love it because it means that I'm growing. Marissa, you're awesome. I'm so excited to see you at the Bali Mastermind real soon. Pam, hey, how you doing? Top 3 tips to change negative thoughts and to stay on track with your goals. Cool. So the first tip would be have an awareness of what the thoughts are. So many people are wrapped up in their thoughts and they don't even really understand what's consuming them. They just get blocked and they don't get results. So that'd be the first thing. Actually realize what's going on in your own head. Second thing, I would look at the resistance to actually achieving the goal. So I would then, like, if you've got a negative thought, like for example, I can't make $100,000 a month. That seems really big. I would then look at, well, what is the resistance blocking me from allowing to go out and manifest $100,000 a month? So I'd be actually looking at the internal block around that. Thirdly, I'd be looking at taking massive action. Once you've decided what you want and actually realized the block and cleared the block, and I'd be moving forward really fast. Dana, be authentic. I don't know what that's relevant to. I think these comments are delayed. But yes, definitely be authentic. Ante, hey, nice to have you on. How do you go about working in a 9-to-5 in a place of struggle and building a brand at the same time when income flow is slowed down a lot? What do you do to hit that next level? Hang on, what's your question? Working in a 9-to-5 place of struggle, building a brand at the same time. Okay, so just realize right now that your environment is everything. Okay, so if you're hanging out with a whole lot of people on Struggle Street, you're going to be on Struggle Street for like a very long time. Like, let's be honest. Now, by the way, I'm not saying quit your job, go and hang out with like high-level entrepreneurs that are like making like a gazillion times more money than you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying do what you can in that environment in order to meet your needs for security. So here's the thing, right? If you're earning like this much in your job, all you need to do in your business is get yourself to this much, then all of a sudden you have choice, right? That is when you're financially free. When you can suddenly meet that and it rises, that's when you have choices and options. So I'd be looking at how can you stay in that environment for the shortest length of time possible, understanding and recognizing that maybe it's not the best environment because there's a whole lot of people hanging out on Struggle Street, right? I'd then be realizing, okay, how do I just not get involved in that environment? How do I be there when I need to be there? Like turn up 9 to 5, do not hang out, do not go to the bar afterwards, do not go to the barbecues on the Saturday, like don't do any of that shit. And then how in any of your spare time do you put yourselves in incredible environments that then accelerate your growth onwards from that? That's what I would be looking at, okay? Being authentic, perfect. It was related to my family. When was I talking about being authentic? I don't even remember that. Everyone's like, be authentic. Oh yeah, it must have been something I said. Cool. Dana, it's pretty cool keeping you. Super proud of you. Oh, you're amazing. By the way, everyone should go follow Dana Van Hoos. He's on this live stream. Go look at his comments. He was crucial in terms of helping me get my fucking head sorted, get a whole lot more self-belief, and then launch my personal brand, like at the very beginning. Okay, so he is crucial. He is such a good friend of mine, and I absolutely adore him, so you guys should all follow him. Go follow him right now. Joseph, awesome. Yay, I'm on it. Christine, how do you define massive action? Yeah, I guess that you're right. That is a different definition for everyone. For me, it's doing whatever it takes. Like what time is it here? It's like 3 a.m. And I'm like, well, I know that a massive chunk of my audience right now is like live online. So I choose to either sleep or I choose to give massive value on a live stream. Now, I'm tired. I've had like 2 hours sleep the night before. I've got a radio interview in exactly 3 hours, actually like 5 hours and 55 minutes, looking at the time. But I choose to be here. For me, that's massive action, but it's aligned action. So I want you guys to really get the difference between just working hard for the sake of working hard and working hard in an aligned way that actually accelerates you to your results, right? Like there's a massive difference. There's a difference between like, I must work hard and actually going, okay, this is my passion, this is my purpose, I am going to do whatever the hell it takes in order to get my true message out to the world and serve the people that I care about the most, okay? Dana, you said be you, no filter. Oh, got it. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Absolutely. Peter, he's responsible for the haircut. Who is? Dana? Probably. I think he claims that. This is a good example. My current environment, the day-to-day job is awful and very negative. So I decided that while I'm building my brand, I can actually change my job. So I went out and just, oh, see more, hang on. I got a better offer, which I will accept. Of course, this does not mean I want to stay in a job, but I choose to change my environment one step at a time. I love that. And here's the thing. This is why I get annoyed at people that are like, oh, I have to stay in my job. It's like, no, you don't. Like, what are you talking about? No one's told you have to do that. You're choosing to do that, right? So do exactly what you've just done. It's amazing. I love that. Like, kudos to you. You've like won the prize for the environment live stream. You've just changed your environment. It's epic. And you know what? It may not be perfect, but if it's better, you know what? I talked in New York recently at an event, and there was this amazing speaker there, and he said, you know, everyone is looking for a feeling. And everyone in the audience was kind of guessing what the feeling was. It's like some was like, you know, they're looking for love. Some people were like, oh, they're looking to belong or be accepted or, you know, for success, or like all these options were coming up. And it just really hit me what he said. I loved it. He was like, regardless of who you are in this world right now, every single person is looking to be better. Just be better, right? So if you can just focus on being better than who you were yesterday, then you're moving forward, right? If you can focus on shifting your environment to be better than what it was yesterday, then it's going to be better, right? Obviously. So I love, love, love what you've just done by going, okay, hey, my job environment isn't ideal, but it's a choice, and I'm going to choose to make it a little bit better. And while it's getting better on the side, I'm going to hustle and like create my dreams. Freaking epic. Go for it. I love it. All right, guys, I think I really need to get off this. I literally have like 2 hours to sleep, and then I have to be out and have a radio interview. And then I'm here for Kat Latozo's event, Superwoman Unchained, and I'm really excited to be speaking on 7-figure money mindset the following day on that. I'm here to support her the whole time in Vegas, though, which is really cool. So we will definitely stream live parts of that event. We can't do the whole thing, obviously, but we'll definitely send stuff through to you. So thank you so much for being on this call. It was super fun. I felt really cool to do this after just being in such an epic environment at dinner and sharing some really cool things, and especially chatting with Jess. Like I said, at the beginning of the call who's interning with us, and it just like all clicked for her. She's just like, it's just all environment. It's all relationships. It's all environment. And it just all clicked together all at once. So I just wanted to share that. So thank you so much for being on. Guys, if you've loved this, make sure you share it on your page, tag people in that need to hear this, that need to see it. We've been going for, can you believe it, nearly an hour. I can't believe I even had that much to say for an hour, but I love and appreciate you all, because obviously I mean, I couldn't talk this long if you guys didn't ask me some questions or say some things back. It's kind of boring talking to yourself, obviously. So you guys are incredible. I'm going to sign off right now. Have an absolutely amazing evening, morning, midday, middle of the night, wherever you are. And remember, you absolutely can have it all. Love you guys. Ciao.